Shall we start? Yes. So good afternoon to you three and all our students. Okay. So this is a very simple topic. I won't tell you which topic. Let me see. Okay. Uh, Very common. We are talking about microscopic appearance of a very common lesion that is encountered. Yes. What is this? This is used to make cake. Okay. How do you describe maida? Okay. So white color is the what is that inspection? This is what we teach students: inspection, palpation, and all that. Okay. Then palpation, palpation, soft, powdery, soft and powdery. Very good. Okay. So what is this? This is used to make upma, uppit, rava. Okay. So can you describe this? Granular. So why do you say it is granular? How do you say it is granular? By feeling. Okay. So whenever we say feeling, we usually use those tips, right? By higher? Right. So what did you say? You said granular. Okay. Fine. So what comes to your mind when you say this is granular? The size of the particle, right? So you are differentiating this powder from rava by the nature of the particle, the size of the particles. Yes, fine. Now, why did I show you that? Do we use this anywhere in our practice? Granular. Yes. So granuloma. Why is it called as a gran? So a new terminology that I am going to tell our undergraduates is about granuloma. Why is it called as granuloma? Because it is granule-like. What is not to look at granule-like? It is a size. So here we need the size of the granule. It is just in millimeters. And then oma. Oma, we have not taught them yet, but oma is usually a suffix that is added to tumors. Okay. So inflammation, it's quite unlikely, but here we use, okay, granuloma. It's not a tumor, it's an inflammation, part of inflammation, which gives rise to a swelling. So what are the 5 cardinal signs of inflammation? Calor, rubor, dollar, tumor, puncture, laser. The tumor part there, it is not tumor, it's not a new growth, it is, it's not a neoplastic growth, it's a swelling. So like that, it is granuloma. So we need to know the definition of granuloma. So it is a circumscribed tiny lesion, 1 millimeter. That's why I showed you something which is granule-like, sand grains, we say, granules, grain-like granules. So these are 1 millimeter collection of cells. What are the cells that are collected here? So granuloma is a circumscribed. Do you think it is a circumscribed? Yes. So it is a circumscribed lesion of about 1 millimeter in diameter, composed predominantly of collection of modified macrophages. See, this modified is a new term here. So you may just say it is composed of collection of epithelioid cells and which is rimmed at the periphery by lymphocytes. Of course, this lesion is the lymph node only, that's it. Otherwise, see, lymphocytes surrounding these. So definition of granuloma. Can one of you read this? Louder. Okay. So a circumscribed tiny lesion. So we are talking about granuloma now. Now, can you see these cells here? Yes. So just look at their nucleus and tell me how many types of cells are there here. Okay. Which are those? So there is one cell, then second type of cell. Where is the third type of cell? I'm not able to see. I can make out only two types of cells here. So why do I say two types of cells? I go by the morphology of their nucleus. Okay? Yes. So how is the nucleus of this cell? It is elongated. Yes. All of you know elongated. Is it vesicular or hyperchromatic? So vesicular is when it is vesicle-like. That means you can see what is present in a vesicle. Okay, you can make out the chromatin there. So it is an opened up chromatin. So clumped is something like this. These cells are not transparent or we cannot make out what they contain. So here the chromatin is distributed in such a way that whatever the nucleus contains, what does it contain inside? Nucleoli. Okay, that could be appreciated. So two types, elongated, vesicular nucleus, and next we go by the shape of the nucleus. So how is the shape of this nucleus? This is for the imagination of our undergraduate students. All of you know what it is. Does it resemble? Yes. So it resembles this. What is this? Sole of the foot. So slipper shaped or whatever. Maybe slipper also has a sole and shoe also has a sole and we also have a sole, right? So this is slipper shaped or sole like nucleus. So very characteristic. This one has to learn to appreciate. Next, pathogenesis of granuloma. The formation of granuloma is a type 4 granulomatous, type 4 hypersensitivity reaction. So this could be a question also for students, hypersensitivity reaction. So why does this happen? It's actually a protective defense reaction by the host. So what does it cause? We know, like we say, for example, vitamin A is like a two-edged sword. Too much is also too bad and too less is also too bad. So here, type 4 hypersensitivity reaction, it is actually a protective defense reaction, but in spite of that, this causes tissue destruction. Okay. So because of persistence of poorly digestible antigen, say one example for granulomatous lesion is this is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It causes tuberculosis. Yes. So Mycobacterium leprae, another organism from the same species which causes leprosy. Then suture material. Does it belong to Mycobacterium family? No. What is it? It is foreign to our body. It is foreign body. Particles of talc, foreign, it is not native to our body. So all these persist when the cells cannot degrade it, then they get transformed. So let us see this evolution of granuloma just in brief. It is cell injury. For example, say tuberculosis, the organism has entered into the body. Or talc granules which have entered into a wound. So failure to digest, the cells fail to digest. So which are the scavengers? Macrophages. So they're engulfed by the macrophage. Initially, the first defense we say is the neutrophils. So then comes the macrophages. They engulf this, and though they engulf this, is a very weak inflammatory response. So they're not able to digest the organisms. Then what happens? There is T cell mediated immune response. So this activates CD4 T cells. I'm sure you know the different types of lymphocytes and all that. So what do these CD4 plus T cells do? They release lymphokines. You know about cytokines which we have taught in inflammation. Now we hear about cytokine storm so much with COVID-19 infection. So they release lymphokines, that is IL-1, IL-2, growth factors, TNF. What is IL-1, IL-2? Yes. So monocyte chemotactic factor. So this is a monocyte chemotactic factor. What does it do? So it attracts chemotaxis. So with this, there is accumulation of tissue macrophages. Where do macrophages come to the tissue from? They're the blood monocytes. Okay. So blood monocytes in tissues, we call them as macrophages. So because of the monocyte chemotactic factor, large number of, that is recruitment from circulation of this monocyte. So in tissues, there is localized proliferation of macrophages and T cells. Now, so macrophages are activated by IFN. What is IFN? Interferon. So then secretion of fibroblasts, proliferating cytokines. Now, there is another cytokine that is secreted, fibroblast proliferating cytokine. So what do they do? So with this, with all these secretions now, the cell is trying to defend against the organism. Not possible. So what happens? So you go stand in the sun. To a certain extent, you can tolerate the heat, the sun. Okay. So when it becomes very sunny by afternoon, midday, what do you do? What do you do? Okay, you go to shade. That means you want to avoid the sun. What do you do? If I tell you that you must and should be there only. Yeah, so you go get an umbrella, then, so you don't want damage. So here the cells are actually, trying to kill the organism. So here you are preventing yourself from sun. So you put lot of sunscreen, then close the body and all that. No? So this is, you get modified. So how you are when you started initially standing to get vitamin D from the sun, then how you modify yourself by midday, no? So noon, that's how. So now the cell this is only to tell you how the cell morphology changes, okay? So the monocyte, the macrophage, now it gets transformed into a cell which is called as epithelioid cell. So what is amyloid? We have taught you amyloid. Why is it called as amyloid? Because it resembles something like starch, myeloid. So now these cells start appearing like epithelial cells. That means they acquire a lot of cytoplasm. Okay, so that is why it's called as epithelioid cells. Then they form giant cells. I'll tell you why giant cells. So if I ask Aparna to lift this table, is she able to lift this table? No. But what will she do? I have told her to lift this table. Take the help. So all of you will join with her. So ultimate aim is to shift the table. So that's why when one cell cannot degrade all the other cells, the cells fuse to become giant cells. So the main aim of this granuloma is to wall off these organisms. You know, we did that initial phase of COVID, containment zones. Now each house was sealed because we didn't want people to come out because they were, so it was not the virus which was moving, the virus, people moving, taking the virus, right? So to see. So the main idea here is granulomas are formed to wall off these organisms. So it's like a containment zone just to keep them there. So prevent their further growth and spread. So this is a strategy who evolves the body, okay, to deal with those pathogens that have learned to escape. That's why we say, lockdown and keep safe at home and all that. So by resisting phagocytosis, these organisms are escaping host immune system. So they're escaping degradation that is killing by the macrophages. So the body has decided to do something. That's how it is walled off. So I described the granuloma as a very tiny, that is about 1 millimeter aggregate of modified macrophages which are called as epithelioid cells, surrounded by, see, this is rimmed by lymphocytes. Now another feature I am telling you here, so they are walled off. So what is the wall that is built there? That is fibrosis. So macrophages and monocytes, they engulf the antigen and try to destroy it. Now we know they are not able to destroy it. But since the antigen is poorly degradable, so they fail to digest the antigen. So instead, they undergo transformation. They are called as epithelioid cells. See, all these are epithelioid cells. So same thing. So poorly degradable, see, polymorphonuclear cell. Then the macrophages enter. This is just an example of tuberculosis that is taken here, poorly degradable. So macrophage comes there, then it releases the cytokine, it gets modified, even it cannot do anything. Yes. So CD4 positive, CD4 plus T cells. So macrophages being antigen presenting cells and having failed to deal with the antigen, they present it to CD4 plus T lymphocytes. Same example, let us take. So I told you to lift. Okay, you three girls are there. I told Aparna to lift the table. She was not able to lift the table. Then you both join, not able to lift. What will you do? Whom will you call? Ashik. So if you call Ashik and Hanumantu, so our attenders. So you present it because thinking they're stronger and they could. So these lymphocytes now, they get activated and elaborate lymphokines. Okay, what are the lymphokines? Read, Aparna. Interleukin 1, louder. Interleukin 1, interleukin 2, interferon gamma, and GNF. Very good. Okay. So role of various cytokines formed by activated CD4 T cells, positive T cells, and also by activated lymphocytes. So what do they do? So now Ashik and Hanumantu also cannot lift the table. What do they do? What do they do? Do they bring a crane? Yeah, crane, you cannot bring it inside. So they get the help of few more attenders. Simple, so simple, right? So there is proliferation of more T cells. Interferon gamma activates macrophages. TNF alpha promotes fibroblastic proliferation, and they activate endothelium to secrete prostaglandins, which have a role in vascular response to inflammation. So this chemical mediators of inflammation we have taught you. The growth factors, the transforming growth factor beta, platelet-derived growth factor, elaborated by activated macrophages, stimulate. So we were talking about the walling of, the containment zone. So how do the fibroblasts proliferate? So now we have some stimulus there for the fibroblastic proliferation. So that thus the granuloma is formed by, so this is a repeat picture I had shown. Yes. So thus the granuloma is formed of macrophages, then modified, which are modified as epithelioid cells. See all these small, elongated cells. With some interspersed multinucleate giant cells, this one, I'll show better pictures later, surrounded at the periphery by rim of lymphocytes, mainly T cells, and then healing by fibrosis. So here inflammation is occurring, healing also simultaneously occurs side by side, especially when it is an older granuloma, then lot of fibrosis would be there. Yes. So now let us see this giant cells. So what are giant cells? Giant, what comes to your mind when we say giant? Even a child is big. Okay, okay, a larger cell. More than just being larger, it has a cell which has got many nuclei. Okay, multinucleated. So based on their appearance, we give different names to it. So we were talking about how macrophages come together to form giant cells. So now let us see how they appear. The typical giant cells that are seen in tuberculosis are like this. So granuloma, let us take an example of tuberculosis for a granulomatous disease. We are just teaching granuloma. What is granuloma? How does it appear? But as an example, let us take tuberculosis. Yes. So these two are the giant cells. Are they big in size? Yes. Lymphocytes, you have seen they're so small, these are big cells. And how many nuclei they have? Plenty, many nuclei. So the multinucleated giant cell. Now, they are called as Langhans type of giant cells in tuberculosis. Langhans. H-A-N-S. Langhans. Langhans. It is not Langerhans. Not just our undergraduates, many people call it as Langerhans cells. Do you know what are Langerhans cells? They are the antigen presenting cells that are there in the lymph node, that are there in the skin and all that. Okay, tennis racket. I think one day I've told you Berbe granules, which are there, as a marker of these cells. Okay, these are Langhans giant cells. So based on how the nuclei are arranged in the cells, so they're classified. But typically, where are the nuclei arranged? All these are arranged at one pole of the giant cell. And what is this? It resembles a letter C or horseshoe. So we say horseshoe shaped nuclei. Okay. Another variety is this horseshoe could be on both sides. So here one C-shaped arrangement of nuclei. Here also it could be C-shaped. Sometimes it could be circular. Entire, you can see the nuclei arranged in a circular manner. So typical Langhans type of giant cell has nuclei arranged at one pole of the cell in C-shaped or horseshoe-shaped manner. That's why horseshoe is shown here. And the cytoplasm is pink in color. Next. Because we're talking about this morphology, I just want to tell you another type of giant cell, which could also be seen in tuberculosis, but not very characteristic. So here, how are the nuclei? There are many. Where are they arranged? Haphazardly. Everywhere they are there in the cytoplasm. So this is called as foreign body type of giant cell. So these also could be seen in tuberculosis. Otherwise, these are seen usually in foreign body giant cell reaction. So whenever there is a foreign body in the tissue causing a reaction, inflammation, it is seen. Now, this is another type of giant cell. Of course, peaches recently I have shown you this. So the nuclei are arranged in the center. What is this manner? Circular manner. So nicely they are arranged, right? And periphery of the cytoplasm has clear vacuoles. What is this? What is this? What type of giant cell? Teuton type of giant cell. Don't you remember? Recently, a xanthomatosis lesion, a lot of macrophages were there and plenty of Teuton type of giant cells were there. This is seen in xanthomas. Next. Is this a giant cell, the last one? Yes. In what way this giant cell is differing from this? Yes. So even this cell has multiple nuclei, but haphazardly arranged, but the nuclei is so dark compared to this. That means they're hyperchromatic, they've got more DNA. Then second is, the nuclei are all not uniform. They're all of varying sizes. What do you call this as? Nuclear pleomorphism and isonucleosis. So these are tumor giant cells. Okay, the different types of giant cells you've learned are Langhans type of giant cells in which lesion? Tuberculosis. Foreign body type of giant cells in tuberculosis plus other inflammatory disorders leading or caused by foreign body. Teuton type of giant cells where? Xanthomas. Tumor giant cells in malignant tumors. Yes. Now, so what is it? Can you make out this entire thing is a granuloma. So it is oval in shape. Lot of lymphocytes are there. Yes. So what does the granuloma consist of now? Epithelioid cells. Why are they called as epithelioid cells? They are epithelial, like they resemble epithelium. What are they? They're modified macrophages or histiocytes. So they're elongated cells. I'll show better cellular morphology. They've got a vesicular nucleus. Remember the first slide I showed you? Slipper-shaped nucleus. Yes. Pale staining, abundant cytoplasm. And the cell margins are not made out. That's why they're all fused. See, everything appears pink. Cell outline is very hazy usually here. So they're weakly phagocytic. No use even in spite of getting modified. They're phagocytic power. They're not powerful as phagocytes. Okay. Can you appreciate these? Okay, very nice vesicular nucleus, clipper shape, and admits all these small cells are lymphocytes. So you will be shown a slide. Undergraduates will be shown a microscopic slide. Next. So multinucleated giant cell, when we say, that means they're having many nuclei. So what is this cell? What is the name of it then? Langhans type of giant cell with horseshoe shape. Don't waste time, okay? Horseshoe shaped arrangement of the nucleus. What is this? It also shows the same thing. Yes. What about this? This is also Langhans type of giant cell with peripherally. No, this has got vacuoles. If it has got vacuoles, it becomes Pluton. Yes, correct. So this is also Langhans type. No, it's arranged at both the poles. These are again Langhans type of giant cells. This is a foreign body type of giant cell, and this looks like again a Langhans type with circular arrangement of cells. So what is this entire thing called as? Granuloma. So why do you say it is a granuloma? It is composed of epithelioid cells, giant cells, lymphocytes. Okay, so modified. So nucleus is at one pole, almost covering 75% here. So here it is at both the poles. So these are granulomas. Very nice granulomas. And one more finding. See, these granulomas are friendly, I say. See, they're all going together. So after some time, they all fuse together. Conglomeration. So that is the feature of tuberculosis, granulomas and tuberculosis. Yes. So what do we see here? Aggregate of monocytes. What cell has it formed from monocytes? What cell is this? It is a Teuton type of giant cell. Then Langhans type of giant cell, foreign body type of giant cell. Okay, so we go with the morphology and the surrounding tissue, what reaction we see. So third component, lymphoid cells. Why lymphoid cells are there in granuloma because it is cell-mediated immune reaction to the antigen, and the host response by lymphocytes is integral to composition of the granule. What type of hypersensitivity reaction is this? Type 4. So plasma cells indicative of accelerated humoral immune response are also present in some of the granulomas. See again another picture, the same picture of granuloma we can see. Okay. In what way this granuloma is looking different? We have already taught you this topic. So there's a giant cell here, small granuloma, another granuloma, another granuloma. So what is special about this granuloma? What does it contain in the center? Hemorrhagia. This has necrosis. This has necrosis. It is pink in color. No, RBCs or hemorrhage will be orange in color in HND stain sections. So this granuloma has central area of caseation. We have shown you necrosis in the previous class. So necrosis, central area of necrosis is a very important feature of granulomas of tuberculosis. And this necrosis is called as caseous necrosis. So what is the type of necrosis? That also we have taught you. It is a combination of coagulation, coagulative as well as liquefactive necrosis. Yes. So it's called as caseation because it is cheese-like. So why is it cheese-like? What is the protein that is present in milk or cheese? Casein is the protein, okay? That's a milk protein. So the bacteria, mycobacteria have a lipid-rich cell wall, okay? The organisms are degraded here. That's why it looks like that. So cheesy appearance. Next. So this is a very well-defined granuloma. Now I think you can appreciate all the features. Again, repeat. Epithelioid cells, giant cells, lymphocytes, and what is this? Fibrosis. Is this HND stain? No, it is looking different because it's like this granuloma, as I usually say, has played only with blue color, right? So that means a special stain has been done. This is only for the purpose of peaches, I'm telling you. So this special stain is Marshall Scarlet Blue. This we usually do it to demonstrate fibrin, and it also demonstrates collagen. Okay, blue is methylene blue, which is given collagen blue color here. Okay, so this is walled off, the granuloma visit, containment zone. I told you why this also. So now next question is, I've just told you repeatedly about tuberculosis as one of the cause for the granuloma. So you should know other causes for granulomas. So what is this tuberculous organism? What is the nature? It's a bacteria. Okay. So let us name some of the granulomatous lesions. So caused by bacteria. So one is tuberculosis. Speciality of tuberculosis is it is caseating granuloma. So what is another organism belonging to Mycobacterium species? Mycobacterium leprae. What does it cause? Leprosy. So what is the type of granuloma that we see in leprosy? Again, tuberculoid granuloma. Is it caseating or non-caseating? It is non-caseating granuloma. Yes. Syphilis is another one caused by Treponema pallidum. But here only in tertiary syphilis we see gamma. And even that has gammatus necrosis, but the morphology, when we go, it may not be typical granuloma like. But syphilis, because you people are there, I tell you two important features you should remember. One is called as endarteritis obliterans. There is proliferation of endothelial cells and that obliterates the lumen of the blood vessels, and perivascular plasma cell infiltration. So the other organisms you should remember causing granulomas are granuloma inguinale, that is zoonoses. Brucellosis, okay, we may not see much. Cat scratch fever is one. So you should tell me the organism causing cat scratch fever. Here we say it is suppurative granulomas. Then tularemia, all this, you may just solve it. Only the important ones. So fungal infections. You're going to learn about actinomycosis tomorrow. Then blastomycosis, cryptococcosis, coccidioidomycosis. Okay. For example, examples for granulomatous lesions. Sarcoidosis. So sarcoidosis, what is the etiology? Unknown etiology. Very nice granulomatous lesions here, but difference is these are non-caseating granulomas, and the granulomas are all discrete. They do not conglomerate. There is no confluent granulomas. They don't join together. And what did we see at the periphery of granulomas in tuberculosis? Any other even before fibrosis? Lymphocytes. So we do not see lymphocytes here. They are called as naked granulomas. Okay, they are also called as heart tubercles. And within the giant cells, we see two nice inclusions. They're called as asteroid bodies and Schumann bodies. So what are they called as? Asteroid and Schumann. So next is Crohn's disease. You know that the intestine will show granulomas non-caseating, including all the layers, they're present in all the layers. Silicosis, berylliosis, foreign body, all this, when they enter, into the tissues, they cause a reaction. That is granulomatous reaction. Yes. So even the structures that are there in the body, as long as they're in their place, they're identified as normal. When they come out, they're recognized as foreign. For example, keratin, an epidermoid cyst filled with keratin. This is structures and keratin comes out, it is recognized as foreign and there is foreign body giant cell reaction. Organizing hematoma, cholesterol comes out, there is foreign body reaction. Like the bony spicules, they come out, they cause foreign body. The body recognizes that in a different place, not in its native place. When it comes out, it recognizes it as foreign and shows lot of reaction. So what type of granuloma do you see here? Caseating granule. So when we say caseating granuloma, what does this comes to your mind? Tuberculosis. So let us see. This is the central area of caseation, and we've shown you how caseation appears. Then surrounded by epithelioid cells, all these lighter zone is epithelioid cells. They fuse to form giant cells, and then there is a rim of lymphocytes, and then fibrosis. So typical composition of a granuloma. This is a caseating granuloma. So this is higher power only to show the macrophages. This is a non-caseating granuloma here. Yes. What is this type of granuloma? Caseating. See, rim of lymphocytes and plenty of giant cells and central area of caseation. What is this? Okay, Langerhans type of giant cell. It's a small granuloma, non-caseating. What is this? This entire thing is a granuloma. What type of giant cells are there? What do they contain here? They contain a foreign body. They are foreign body type of giant cells. Don't you think it's so obvious? So wherever foreign body type of giant cells are there, if you carefully see, you will find the teeth there. They're like policemen. They found around. It is present inside also. Okay. So what are these giant cells? Okay, because they have dark nucleus, you call tumor. In which condition this is nuclei with so many giant cells with so many nuclei? Giant cell tumor of the bone. Okay, what are these cleft-like spaces? Cholesterol cleft. So it has come out. So it is in the tissue. So body reacts to it. Can you make out foreign body type of giant cell here? See, look at this cholesterol, how it is engulfed by a foreign body. So these are cholesterol clefts. Yeah. So these are different types of giant cells. Okay. So what do you see within the giant cell here? There is calcification. This is the human body. To be still no better see. So these are non-caseating granulomas or sarcoidosis. Okay, see, non-caseating granuloma. So this is a sarcoid, giant cell and sarcoid. What does it contain? A star-like structure. That is the asteroid body. So when we talk about the tumor giant cells, yeah, you know they all show anaplastic features. See, these are typical Reed-Sternberg giant cells. Now we call them as RSL, characteristic of Hodgkin's disease. So this is osteoclastic tumor giant cell. Remember, you saw multinucleated giant cells. Yes. So Reed-Sternberg giant cells, they typically, a classical one has got two lobes, bilobed, okay, with a nice nucleoli, very prominent nucleoli, and the proteinaceous material probably is more here, that's why they take up more pink stain. They're so pink in color. Okay. So this is another cell. Does it look similar to this? Fast, don't waste time. Yes. What is the color of the nuclei here? Nucleoli. It is dark blue in color. How is the cytoplasm? Is it same? No, cytoplasm is different. It is granular. Okay, this also has the same appearance. What does it resemble? Yeah, owl-eye appearance. Typically, when we say for undergraduates, owl-eye appearance is Hodgkin's lymphoma, classical Reed-Sternberg cell. But as species, you should know, there's another cell which also is likened to having or looking like owl's eye. But here, the nucleoli in RS cells are pink. Here they are blue. And cytoplasm is eosinophilic. Here it is granular. So this is seen in CMV. What is CMV? Cytomegalovirus virus infection. This is the intranuclear inclusion, intracytoplasmic inclusion. So you should know to differentiate. So what is this? Owl-eye. What is owl-eye for? For you, two reasons, and for undergraduates, one. Okay. Now let us talk about the physiological giant cells. Are there few giant cells which are normally present in the body? Yes, there are. So this is a bone marrow refined biopsy. So it's like a slide. What are these cells? Bone marrow megakaryocytes. inner tissue biopsy, bone marrow biopsy. That's a normal giant cell. What does it produce? Megakaryocyte. Yeah, so these are megakaryocytes in bone marrow aspiration. So giant cells. You can see the lobated nucleus. Next, osteoclast is also a normally seen giant cell, physiological giant cell. This in histology they have learned, which help in resorption of the bone, osteoclast. Then what is the third physiological giant cell? Seen in chorionic villi. So that is the syncytio trophoblast. So these three are the physiological giant cells. So you should remember all this. Let me see how much you all remember after listening to this, and that needs to be tested, right? Assessment. Okay, fine. Thank you. This is in brief about the granulomas and different types. What is a granuloma and what are the different types of giant cells? Okay. So let us end our session here. Thank you. Thank you, Peaches. I made you UGs.